Alright, today we're going to talk about a few of the packs from the what I'm going to consider the big four right now, and realistically some people would say the big three here, and then Seek Outside over here. I don't have. So I've got the Seek Outside Revolution frame. I've got a separate video on that. Probably not going to do a separate video on each of these packs. Or I might just to break down some of the features a little bit better. We'll have to see. But the Revolution, and I've got the Broadwing 7000 bag here. Let's go over some. I've spent the most time with it, but it's got a floating belt, which you know, is kind of different than how these guys over here are set up. But the frame comes down and it wraps back away from your back, and then this belt just floats there. It is different. It feels way different than these. It is very comfortable, but it does put more load onto your hips than it does the lumbar, whereas these three kind of do a better job of weight distribution, but I do find it very comfortable. So that is the main difference as far as the frames go. And I'll talk about bags real quick. Again, there's a separate video on this, so I'm not going to go into great detail. But things I like about it is it's a 7,000 cubic inch bag. It is made out of, the main bag's made out of X-Pack, so if you seam seal it, it will be waterproof. And I tested that out in New Zealand here last month, and it was great. The side bags will allow a rifle to go in. You can get an 80mm spotter in there. I don't have a 95 to test, but you can get the 85mm spotter in here. This will cinch down to hold it up, or you can undo it, put a rifle in there. I usually run a rifle in one side, the spotter in the other, and then my tripod down here. I do think that it has the best roll top, and this was my first experience with a roll top, but I really like it. The wings are clear out here, out of the way, and you can just roll it down super fast, and then buckle this, and it'll go down to day pack size and no problem. I've got 70-pound bags of sand in each of these now for testing comfort. They do have what they call a talon. It would attach here to these what they call gatekeepers, which is the same style Kuyu has, and I'll talk about that when we're talking about when I'm actually comparing the bags. But the talon would attach to all these and sit out here. And some people like it. I've talked to some people that actually like it. I think it's a band-aid to the fact that they didn't put any compartments out front. When I've got my rifle and spotter in here, there's really no way to, obviously there's no way to put something here without running that talon. But then when you want to get in, or you want to get in the main compartment, you got to take that thing off, and it slides over the side, and it does work, but it's a band-aid to, you know, we're gonna find some of that stuff over here with the Kifaru, but it's also got a lid. The lid attaches up here, and it's kind of the same thing. It's not quite as nice as these. The attachment straps are real short, so it works great in this configuration, and it goes clear down to here to attach. But when you have this thing loaded with 6 or 7 days worth of stuff, and the bag's clear up here, it just won't go up over the top as it comes from Seek. Now, I'm not saying you can't do something to get webs, different straps attached or whatever. I just think it's real poor implementation, especially compared to the Exo and the Stone Glacier. Set this back down here. The Kifaru, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about bags. They have endless options. This happens to be a DT1 one of the newer Hunter frames. So we're kind of going to skip over it right now. They have all kinds of options, simple bags, complex bags. You can add all kinds of pockets to pretty much do whatever you want. When it comes down to if weight isn't really an option, or a consideration, these guys are probably going to have pretty much every base possible covered. Looking at the options, I just don't see there's anything that you can't configure. Now those accessories to make it configured the way you want could add more weight than you're wanting to put up with, so that is a consideration. And they've even started, I forgot the name of the pack already, but some of their new bags, I think it's the Muskeg series, is using X-Pack. So they even have some waterproof options. Now we got the Exo 5500. This is the latest version. It's basically the same as all these are going to be in basic design. It uses a titanium frame. The stays run up here. They've got a little bit of curvature to them. It's got a giant lumbar pad. Some guys love it. Some guys absolutely hate it. And it's really nice shoulder pads. The bag itself, it's got the lid up here, and as I kind of alluded to up here, when you get this full 5 or 6, 7 days worth of stuff, and this is up here, these straps down here let this come all the way up and it goes over the top. It's super simple, and it's the way it should have been designed. Now this, I believe, is new to them. It's they've gone to roll top. One of the real nice features about it is it's got snap in for dry bags, so you can buy the appropriate size dry bag, snap it in and set it in, keep your stuff dry. Now obviously that does pretty much hinder this near useless, the side entry, which I believe is also new. No, that's not new. This we'll talk about this in a second. But even with the dry bag, you could still put some of their accessory pouches that go in here and attach to this Velcro strip. I think they've got one over here as well. But the dry bag would make getting to your stuff a little difficult. I don't like how they implemented the roll top. When you start rolling, if you don't pay real close attention, these will get rolled up in there. Happened to go pretty well that time, and it makes it difficult to get it snapped. It's not quite as nice as that roll top, but I do like the roll top feature. So it's not quite as nice as that, but the roll top is nicer than what we're going to talk about to me on the Stone Glacier here. They have moved, this is what I actually believe is new. I think this entry to this pouch used to be up here in the past. They've moved it over to here. I think this is very nice. Definitely something the Seek is missing, in my opinion. When you get it stuffed full of 5 or 6 days worth of gear, it does balloon out, and it does make it a little difficult to get into, but it's a nice stretchy material, and so you can get into it. It's got mirror side pockets, so they're both the same. It cinches up here at the top, and it's got another external pouch to this on the bottom, so you can get a rifle down in there. It's a little more difficult than what we're going to talk about on this Stone Glacier, the particular bag that I have got over here. But it does you can put a rifle in there, and an 85mm spotting scope will fit inside there. You can put your tripod on the outside over the scope, and then, like I said, a rifle goes in there no problem. Very, very well thought out bag. And then I guess I should mention, when you get this all filled and this is up to the top, this will just come up and lets it sit way up here. So very, very well thought out bag. And we'll talk about where I rank it for my needs. And I think we're kind of gonna get how I set it up. You're kind of seeing how I run it. Okay. Now Stone Glacier, the last one we're gonna talk about here. I guess I should go back to this. This, you don't have a lot of options in bags. They've got a 5500, which is somewhere around 7,000 cubic inches total, including all the external compartments. And then they've got a 5500, a 3500, which is somewhere around 5,000. And then they've got a 2,000, I believe. And they're pretty much all set up the same. So if you like the Exo style, but you want a day bag, they're going to have pretty much a mirror image. Which in my opinion is really nice. Now obviously if you don't like this bag, you're probably not going to like the 3500. The 2000 is a little bit different, but close enough that I think if you like this, you're going to like it. Now the Stone Glacier, I went with the 7900. I think it's the Sky Guide 7900, and I've got the X Curve frame. So it's carbon with titanium bends in it, so it's the carbon's attached to the titanium and then the bend, and so it gives the curvature here. I happen to like it quite a bit. I'm obviously not going to be able to compare it to the other frame, but they do have another frame option. So if you like their bags and this frame doesn't work for you for whatever reason, they all have guarantees. You can try them. As long as you don't get them dirty, and they can sell them as new, you can send them back. So if you absolutely hated this frame, you could try the other frame. It's basically set up just like these. The lumbar pad's not quite as big, but it is open in the back. You can put more, take some foam out, whatever you need. And we'll talk about the bag itself. Very similar, the lid is very similar to the Exo. You can roll this up when you get this full. You can have to take these out or just get another pair and put them up here to attach the bag to it. It's not just adjusting like this. This setup is better in my opinion, but this one it's not a deal breaker. It does roll quite a bit up, 7,000 cubic inches, or again, I'm not going to get into the specs. You guys can go read about those on the website. I'm just trying to compare the things that you can't really do unless you get your hands on all of them. I know some guys get irritated that I'm not going to sit here and talk about the specs when most of you already think I talk too much anyway. So this particular bag has a built-in pouch basically for a spotter, and it does. I can run my 80 millimeter Swaro in here. The 85 millimeter from Vortex would be just as good, fit just as well in here. So it goes in there. You can run a tripod down in this little pocket here to the side. I know it's kind of hard to see here, and it's kind of hard to see on their website, but it does have another little pocket here. You put a water bottle, whatever. What I'm going to do is run a spotter and my tripod down here, or possibly over here. There's another little pocket out front, which I really like. And the rifle, to me, I'm kind of torn on which setup I prefer, but this one is going to be the easiest. So you undo these straps, and the rifle butt will sit right down in this side pocket here, and then this cinch here. It doesn't have any protection on this particular setup in this bag, but it's going to be easier to get in and out. It's just going to slide in there, slide out. This has some more protection, but it does take a little bit of time, you know, 15, 20 seconds. And if you're hiking and you see an animal that you know, you get one of those gifts where there's an animal you want to take, that's going to burn some time getting used, or getting it out of there. So the front panel here on this particular bag I love. It's got enough material that even when I get the main compartment full, I'm going to be able to get quite a bit more gear out here, and it's, you know, mainly for me going to be the things that I want quickly, you know, anything from a little bit of food to keeping your kill kit here so you don't have to dig in the bottom for it, those kinds of things. And then probably my favorite part, and I think this is a love it or hate it kind of deal for most people, that's got side entry. The Seek has side entry. This folds out here so you can get to all of your gear from this way, or you can get to it from this way, which I don't like these cinch tops. They're not a deal breaker for me. I'd much rather have a roll top, but it, you know, it works. I just don't like this thing hanging out when you get it done. But it's also got it's set up such that when you get this all the way up, you'll be able to snap this closed with the strap that comes up. So there we have, I think, the main features. I don't think I really missed anything that was greatly important. They all have compartmentalization or organization options. I've already kind of talked about the Seek. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not a fan of it. You can kind of look around. It's fairly limited on how you can configure it. Now this has little Velcro pouches you can buy, and when you open the main compartment, you just Velcro them in there, and I think it'll hold like 2 or something. So it does have some options there. This one has several. They've got a bigger one, and they've got a couple smaller ones, and you attach them to here. And I think there's one in the main bag, another one in the back. I guess I wouldn't swear to that. I should have looked first. But you've got these, which is where I would put them anyways, so it's not a big deal to me. And then when you get in here, you've got one over here, and you've got one over here. And I'm probably going to get a couple smaller ones and a couple larger ones, and I'll play with that and see which way's useful for me. They all have hydration options, so I'm not going to get into that too deeply. Actually, at all, they have hydration options as you would expect. So I think that covers the bags. I guess one other thing. The Seek is, if you seam seal it, it's going to be waterproof. You don't need a rain cover for your main bag. The Kifaru, like I said, they have that option for some of the new bags they have. And this has a couple options. The Exo has rain cover, and it's also got the dry bag that goes in, and it actually is made to fit in and snap in to the bag. Stone Glacier has rain covers. They've also got dry bag options, but it's not as integrated as that. So as far as bags, I think that's really it. Now we're going to get into the testing, and I don't have time or access to what I would consider to be real tests of this gear, but I've got them all loaded with 70 pounds, and I've just been taking a 1.5 mile hikes, which again, I know the distance isn't, it can't compare to a 10-mile pack out or even a 5-mile pack out. But I've been doing it off and on, swapping through them, trying to make sure that fatigue wasn't the reason I didn't like the next bag or whatever. Making sure I get rested and stuff. None of them is what I would consider uncomfortable. The Kifaru, I just couldn't get adjusted no matter what I did. to my liking. The Seek, I've spent quite a bit of time with it. I do like it. It is comfortable. It does put more weight on your hips, and it's hard to explain, but it does work out some muscles in your sides that the others don't. The Exo, I think, does a really good job of balancing the load between your back and your shoulders. I suspect over really long trips it might be the one that fatigues you the less, but up front it does, if you have it adjusted right, it does put more pressure up here. It just feels like you're more integrated with the bag. It is very comfortable. I wouldn't not purchase it due to comfort. If you like the bag setup, I think this is going to be very comfortable for anyone, or most people anyways. To me, time after time, the Stone Glacier was just overall more comfortable. And I personally like the features on this bag the most. I guess I didn't really talk about, like, to me, you can go look at the website and you can see what you do and don't like. Their day bags are, there's really nothing they have that interests me. There's nothing that's really just a sized down version of their big bags. When they go to the smaller bags, they cut out these nice pockets like this, or you know, I think the Approach 2000 or 22, or I guess it's the Approach 1800. I'm getting all the names messed up. They do have one that has spotting scope bag, but then it doesn't have anywhere to put your rifle. I guess that one does have a tripod mount, but then you'd have to use like the gunsling or something like that to do it. So that would probably be the most interesting to me. But they do have some options that may appeal to you. But back to what I was talking about, this to me is the most comfortable, and it's the bag that I'm going to keep out of these. I do want to mention real quickly, this bag also has the only feature that I absolutely hate, can't stand it. I'd change it in a heartbeat. I'd even pay to have it changed. These all have what I would consider the typical power pulls with the duck bills on them to tighten and loosen very quickly. This doesn't have any duck bills. It just tightens down. And you know, everyone that I hunt with has, you know, we've talked about this. When we go in on long, heavy packs, even just taking 50 pounds of gear into camp, and even more so when we get more weight of packing an animal out or whatever, we're constantly making adjustments to kind of transfer the load around on our bodies. And this, you can't undo these without completely unbuckling and starting over, and it's annoying. I'm going to probably order some duck bills for it and see how that works, but I had to point that out. Having said that, the reason why they did that is because apparently there are people that complain about these other styles not staying tight enough, and they constantly have to cinch them. I've never had that, number one, and number two, if I did, it wouldn't even bother me, like I said, because I'm transferring the weight around as I hike. But it's not going to slip. It's out of these bags, it's the one that's going to hold the best. So there you go. If you have any comments or questions, leave those in the comments section. I'll try to answer those as quickly as possible. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Have a great day.